Welcome. I'm Kerel Pinder, the writer and director of Easy Love, and this is Easy Talk. All right, we are here with Jillian and Rorey Storr.
This is us now.
This is us, the couple this story is inspired by. How does it feel like having your story out there? And this is only some of it. Like, how does it feel?
It feels, I feel naked. Because I'm comfortable with writing my feelings. I've always been comfortable with that. But speaking it is another level. Now seeing it on screen, it's just, there's a lot of awe, but there's also, oh my gosh, someone's gonna see this. But yes, I'm loving the process.
Good stuff, good stuff. How do you feel, Rorey?
For me, I feel proud, because I've been telling Jillian this has been in the works for her for like almost over a decade. And she always expressed how she thought this story could be a movie, for people to really enjoy. And watching it being filmed, I see like ups and downs, drama, comedy, romance, and I'm like, I see what she's talking about now.
Yes, it's a story. It is. It's a story.
I'm proud for her.
Aww.
That she's able to see it come to fruition.
Oh, that's so cute. And we just finished episode 4. So everybody has seen, they've seen the season finale of season 1. They've seen the season finale of Easy Love. And a lot of people may be surprised on where it ends. But just so they know, when you purchase the book, there's a lot more to the story. So it ends on a cliffhanger for a purpose, because we want you to find out more about the story in the book Easy Love. But just like most shows, they end on a cliffhanger. But this cliffhanger for a lot of people is kind of like confusing. I remember talking to our DP, Alfred, and he was like, is Rorey Vincent or Amar? Because I'm confused. And I was like, he's Amar, duh. And he was just like, yeah, but how it ended, like, I don't know who he is now. So how do you think the fans will respond to Noel at the end of episode 4 I'm staying with Vincent?
Okay, I think they'll probably scream at their TV screens, at their laptops, whatever they're watching it on. They're gonna be like, girl, what are you doing? But I think on some level they'll understand. Noel's not the only one. I'm sure there are a lot of people who have made this stupid decision. But yeah, I think they'll be able to relate to it.
Good. And I agree. Like, I was saying the thing too, like, sometimes you look at Noel and I'm like, what is this girl doing? But then I'm like, you're 17. And I think about when I was 17, I'm like, I was doing the same thing. Like, I was having a conversation with some 12th graders the other day, and I was like, don't go to school for a boy. And they're like, yeah, that's dumb. Who would do that? Okay, me? I would do that. At 17, you guys are much more smarter than me. I would do that. I did that at 17. So I guess you guys are smarter than me. So the experience, I think, is something a lot of people will be able to relate to, for sure, for sure.
What's next? Is there going to be a season 2?
Is there going to be a season 2? So what's next? I don't know what's next, but I will tell you what I'm open to. I am open to this being a movie. I am open to it being a season 2. I'm open to a miniseries. If I had to choose between all, whether it would be a movie, a miniseries, or season 2, I would say miniseries, Netflix, pick it up. The reason why I say miniseries are in right now, because one of the things they tell you as a writer is know the avenue or the best avenue to tell this story. So a movie, can you tell it in 120 minutes? A season, are you gonna tell it over several seasons? And then a miniseries, it says that there's enough of a story that's longer than a movie, but I don't necessarily need more seasons. I can tell it like within 10 episodes that are like an hour long. I don't know if we would need 10 episodes, but a miniseries would be like my first preference. But I would be open to a season 2. So let's say that, the audience sees it, they love it, and they want to go with season 2. We will need to do a GoFundMe, because I'm sure nobody else is doing a no-fi budget, but we would need to raise the funds to be able to afford all of the talent that we had to do season 1, but I would definitely be interested in it. Like, this was a dream come true for me. I was sharing with Jillian, we were shooting at our home, and I was showing her in my room that I had on my vision board for 2019 to to do a production, and it said romantic comedy. And I didn't know that I don't remember, it was May or June, you came into my office, that was the answer to my prayer, but it was like we were the answer to each other's prayer.
Right.
Yeah. So we see an episode 4 that at the end of the episode, Noelle and Amar are having this conversation, and it's right before summer break after the end of the first year, and they've had some ups and downs. They haven't talked for a little bit of the second semester, and then we see they have the connection at the party, and then they have this conversation. There's a lot of things that are said in that conversation, but I do think that there are a lot of things that are not said. So what do you think is going on in Noelle's head, and what do you think is going on in Amar's head when they have that, because they don't get back together, but they have like this moment?
Okay, I think Noelle knew she was gonna leave. She was tying up her loose ends. She didn't see any other way to do it. So she was sad that she was not gonna see him anymore, but she was happy she met him. But at this point, she was like, okay, this is a chapter that's closed.
She has to close the chapter. She had to close the chapter. That makes sense. And through this process, I think you guys talked about this. Through this process, there have been things that
resurfaced. Yeah. Like we rehashed a lot of conversations. Yeah.
And how was it to do that? Was it hard? Was it great? Was it refreshing?
I think it was enlightening more than anything else. There was one thing in particular. Do you remember? Like we stayed up for a while and we talked about it. Just the
Sharon thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was probably of shooting the whole series, my favorite part, because I hated it, but it was my favorite because it sparks controversy even within the cast and crew. Because most of the girls were on Noelle's side, like, girls, slap him, slap her. But I was surprised that there was a crew guy in particular. He was like, what kind of audacity does she have to walk up on him? She has a boyfriend. Go home. You made your decision. Go. Don't mess up what I could have with someone else.
That is what someone on the cruise said.
I was like, what? You're not rooting for them? He was like, no. And that was our conversation. I was like, no one's gonna say that. But that's how he felt.
This was the guy on the cruise?
Yes. And that was our literal conversation. Like, how can you not understand how upset I was to see you with someone else? And you were like, you have a boyfriend.
I don't understand why you are having this conversation.
The thing that I was thinking about was how much I was investing into what could be with us, and to not feel it reciprocated. Like literally 2 days or within 2 days after we broke up, I asked you, hey, can we take this to the next step? And you were back with this too.
And you were like,
yeah, so.
Really?
And I didn't know how that affected him in such a big way for many years.
And to answer the first question, I think in that moment, Amar was probably thinking, I love that I have a friendship with Noelle, but I want to be chosen. I hope that she chooses me, because he already made his decision.
Yeah.
He wants to be with her.
He wanted to be with her, but she has to come to the realization of choosing him. And I've laid my cards out. And you don't think he didn't, at that time, Amar didn't have any idea that she wouldn't come back?
No. He had no idea at that moment.
I like that.
So I always thought this story, no one was gonna love this story more than me or look just like me. But for some reason you dove in head first, submerged yourself. What exactly resonated with you with this story that made you want to translate it on film?
I did dive in. I think one of the things that resonated with me is I do love stories. And I think after having that conversation with you, and we were friends much longer than doing this year. I knew your story. I didn't know Rory like I know Rory now, but I didn't know of your story. And I remember it played not a big role, but a role in my life, because I remember when you were in the relationship, and that we don't see it in Easy Love, but we do learn about it in the book. A relationship that you were in, and there was nothing wrong with the relationship and nothing wrong with the guy, but you felt like this was not where God wanted you. And I remember you walking away, and I remember you telling me a story how you'd walk away and you cried and it was so hard, and how you just didn't feel like this was the person for you. And I remember being like, whoa, like that must be really tough, because usually it's easy to leave a relationship that the guy is just garbage. But to see the maturity of you deciding to leave something where the person is a great person, but this is not the person, that spoke volumes to me. Then something like that similar happened to me a year into a relationship where the person was just amazing and there was nothing wrong with them. And I could feel God saying, like, I need you to walk away. And I was just like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. There's nothing wrong with this person. There's nothing wrong with the relationship, nothing wrong with this person. I'm not leaving. And your story came back to me in that moment. And I think it was God bringing back to my memory, like, you see, when Jillian was obedient, where I was able to guide her. And I was just like, yeah, I think I don't even think this is God. I think I'm just remembering Jillian's story. I'm remembering what happened to her. And I'm just gonna leave that there. I'm just gonna stay in this relationship. So I stayed in the relationship for like 3 years. It didn't work, obviously. But from then, just watching that aspect of hearing that played a role in my life of maybe if you did just lay it down, maybe you would have been in a different spot. And everything happens for a reason. So I don't regret my journey or anything that happened, but it stayed with me, those decisions. And so that would have been a part of it. So your love story without being a book would have already played a role in my life. And then when you did Easy, when you came to me with the book and you were in the process of writing it, and you said, I asked you why, like, what do you want people to get out of this book? Because I think sometimes people say like, oh, I want to write a story about my life. Okay, that's very vain. Why are you writing a story about your life? But so I asked you, like, what is the message? Like, what do you want people to get from it? And then you were like, well, I've seen a lot of women that are my age that are either single and have never been in a relationship like this, or they have been in relationships that haven't been easy, haven't been fruitful, and she was like, I want women to know that exist. But I don't have that. And so it's like, it does give you hope that it exists, like that dynamic exists. And so because you wanted to share that message, I was like, I want to be a part. I mean, I may not have it, but if I can be a part of sharing that it exists, I want to be a part of it. So that is why I decided to do the project, because I think that a lot of people do need to have hope, and they do need to hear a story like this, because there's a lot of lessons. Watching Noel, even though you would watch the episodes and be like, oh, what's going on with Noel? What's Noel doing? I do think as you read the book, and then I read the book and I was just like, it's a page turner. I'm like reading, and I was reading the book and it was just like, this is so good. And so after that, I was just like, I'm definitely doing this. Like it aligns with the stories that I love to tell. It's character driven, and all of the elements of storytelling are there. So there's a protagonist, there's an antagonist, there's a goal, there's conflict. You know, I like my conflict. There's drama. And I'm like, this is a story. There's conflict, there's drama. It's like Rorey was saying, there's comedy, there's drama, there's love. All the elements of what you need in a great story is there. And so I'm not saying that anybody who comes and says, can you write my story? I'm just like, I don't know. I got to see if it's really a story there. There was a story there. Like this is a story. And so that is why I decided to write it.
I told Rorey to, no, like your children, no one's gonna love them like you. But for some reason, like you're up at 2:45 in the morning sending edits. Oh my God. Like you've put so much effort into this. I'm so grateful for it. Like you don't even understand.
In episode 4, that's I think one of the funniest episodes. Like when he asks like, is it mine? And she's like looking at the people like, why y'all looking at me? She like looks at them. I love part of that episode. But it is still it's a serious moment. Like you think you're pregnant, you don't even know who the daddy is, girl, what you talking about? It's a lot going on. So what do you think? And then we see Amar come out of the room, his dorm room, and he's making a call, going through all of that of hearing, I think it may be pregnant, I don't know who the father is. And what do you think are the emotions that are going on in Amar's head at the time?
Well, I could actually remember that moment very well. The chemistry between Noel and Amar, magnetic, for sure. Like, nothing can separate them, nothing. And I thought in that moment that this would be the thing that pulls me away, especially because we're not sure whose child this could be, if it's a child. So I remember I was walking back to my dorm and I thought, I'm in 100%. Because I can't stay away from who this beautiful person is. I just have to be by
Flaws
his
and
side.
all,
Yeah.
I'm in.
So even if it's not mine, I'll make the choice to dedicate everything to it, to the process.
And
So I was in, all in.
You were all in. And I told you, I said, Rory made me laugh when we were filming the scene because like he's holding the boom and Lem is saying his line where he was like, I got you. And Rory's like, that's a good man.
Yeah,
that's
man.
a good man.
That's a good one for real.
I was like, Rory over here holding this boom and this commentary.
And of course, I don't know any of this until we actually got together 5 years later. So I had no idea. I thought I was going through something and that was it.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about what he was going through.
What he
at
was
all.
going through, yeah.
I was 17.
every time Noelle does something, you're gonna scream at Noelle. But every time you scream at Noelle on the screen, just say, you're 17. She's just 17.
For the series, what was the most difficult scene to shoot?
So for me, the most difficult scene to shoot, because it was a shoot that we shot at the school when we had that day. And it wasn't anything on the actors. It was, we just needed time. And like I said, it's a no fi budget. And so we're asking favors for everybody. And so the principal of that school, I gave them a time and I did not make the time. And so she gave me a grace of 2 hours over the time I gave her. And so we're trying to catch all of the dynamics of the Bahamian meet and greet scene. And I'm trying to catch all of the dynamics of the meet and greet scene. There's certain looks, there's certain things that we have to have in that scene. And I can feel her by the window like, you guys need to leave. But like in the most sweetest way, because she's so sweet to allow me to, have all that shooting time. So I think that was the hardest to shoot because you want to make sure that in post you have more than enough to shoot versus let's put some stuff together because we didn't get it all. We didn't get it all that night. So I think that was hard to shoot because I couldn't be free. I couldn't be free to do what I wanted to do. Even that night, that was the night right before Tabitha's birthday, Noelle's birthday. Well, and I wanted to kind of like have everybody eat the cupcakes and say happy birthday, and we're just like, pack it up, happy birthday, girl, let's go. So it was like a lot of moving parts, but again, we had to shoot it all in the day frame of the 5 day. This was shot over 5 days. But we had to shoot everything in those 5 days because we were asking people to volunteer their time.
So after reading the book, is there something that you wish you would have captured that didn't make it on season 1?
No, not for season 1. I think I left it all on the screen for season 1. Like there were different dynamics. Like there's a dorm room that you talk about in the book that the readers will read that I just felt was like too difficult to shoot. And so I was just like, I'm not shooting that. I'm not gonna write it in. But what I would say that I would be looking forward to, like I don't know how I would do it. That's why I said like you would need like a budget because like South Africa, I'm gonna want South Africa to be up in there. Like I'm gonna need that to be up in there. I would want to cast Celine. Like I'm dying to be like, who's Celine? Like who is she gonna be? How is the dynamic with Celine gonna be? Just seeing Noelle and Celine on screen at the same time. Like I would just love to see all of that. So those are things that I wouldn't include in season 1, but I would love to capture at some point. And my final question for you, one of the things that we did to prepare the actors was we asked them to have one-on-ones. You had a one-on-one with Tabitha, you had a one-on-one with Lem. What was that experience like of having someone ask you questions about your life? And also, how did you feel about their portrayal of you on screen?
So me and Tab, we found out that we were a lot alike. Like we're both reserved, we don't say much, kind of guarded. We also have some ancestral similarities because my dad is Jamaican Indian and her grandmother is as well. Oh, wow. So that was cool to find that we were a lot alike. And her portrayal was spot on. Like, you know, at the meet and greet when she was sitting by herself and the guy approached her and she was just like, get out of my face. But when she saw Amar, she stepped to him and she's all open and flirtatious, and she was spot on.
I love it.
It took me back. Yeah.
Even seeing the dynamics of it, I think I kept asking you about it when I was writing that scene. I'm like, so she just went up to his laptop? Like, why?
It was
Weird,
like
right?
he was the key to open her up. Yeah.
Oh, he was the key. She got you, Rory. You're the key now.
Corny.
So what was that conversation like with you and Lam Rory, and how did you feel about his portrayal of you on screen?
It was actually easy for us. And I think that's because we both come from like similar backgrounds, pastors' children, and he's musically inclined. Of course I am as well. So it was an easy conversation. Even with relationships, we had very, very similar experiences. So yeah, seeing that translated through him and his acting, I think he did a very good job, a phenomenal job. And it was a little scary at some points because as he was acting, I could literally see myself. And I'm like, oh my goodness. How is he doing this right now?
How is he able to do it? I think it was the first day of shooting when they were having the conversation and you was like, I don't remember what you said. You were just like,
I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready for it.
He was like, yeah, I wasn't ready for this.
Yeah, like we previously did the one shot with him on the keys, but I guess it wasn't enough dialogue.
Right.
But when I heard that, I was like, oh my goodness, I was not ready for all of this.
To relive.
Yeah. And it just brought back so many memories at once. So he did an impeccable job.
Good job, good job. I love that it's an all Bahamian cast and all Bahamian crew. Like everyone from our DP to me writing to the actors, like just seeing that talent. I think sometimes people, if you're from the Bahamas, you just underestimate that there is that kind of talent there. Like I remember the first time I ever did a production and I had the poster out. People were like, are they Bahamians? And I was like, they are, like there are Bahamians on there. And so I'm just so impressed by the talent that we see on screen with the editing, with the shooting, everything, the whole aspect, our cameramen, like everybody who's been involved in the project, like they just are professionals. And I'm hoping that when people watch this series that they're not only entertained and they enjoy the story, but I hope that they take pride in the work that, you know, all of these people did to come together to make the show, because I think it was great. So people may be wondering, like, how did you get back together? So you gotta read the book.
Yeah.
You gotta read the book. You gotta read the book. You gotta read the book.
And a lot happens in between
It does.
her leaving and them getting together.
It does. It's a lot of ups and downs. Like we're hoping Noel like kind of catch sense, but Noel goes through some more ups and downs.
Some downs.
Noel goes through some more ups and downs, but I do think it's a beautiful story. So I can't wait for people to read the rest of the book. And who knows? Maybe season 2. Who knows? Who knows? Thank you, Rory and Jillian, for sitting down as we talked about episode 4. And thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this series. Please leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about this series. This is Easy Love.
Thank you for tuning in to our season 1 finale episode of Easy Love. If you are dying to know what happens next, we want to invite you to a Meet the Author event on Friday, April 29th. In order to purchase a signed copy of Easy Love the book. If you are outside of our hometown in Grand Bahama, please check the description box below for our Easy Love book distribution outlets.